it's kind of
She has that, forgive me for saying it, voodoo clam.
No!
Okay, let's motherfucking go.
Let's motherfucking go.
Okay.
Wow, I can't believe it. It's been like a year of
Wow,
kind of
yeah.
thinking about
We've
this.
been plotting and planning on this.
We have been plotting on this. Oh my god. Should I get my props on?
Yeah, get your prop on.
Your prop is around here somewhere.
I put it away because I said, Heather, let's be real. You're
what?
not going to put that on, are you?
Well, okay, well, I'm personally ready and really excited.
I mean, this is something you would wear even without the book club.
That's why I own it. I owned it. I didn't order it for Anna Karenina.
Sorry, guys. I didn't have, like, a relevant prop to pop
okay,
on.
okay. Well, here's the prop. Here are our drinks.
Wow.
Cheers. And now...
Whoa, how do you say cheers in Russian? Dang, we gotta look that up. That's something we should know from White Lotus because they mention it.
Oh, what the hell? That's even a plot point there.
Yeah. Oh, it sounds like something too. Shia LaBeouf.
It does?
Yeah, because then
It sounds like Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, because then one of the girls starts saying, like, Shia LaBeouf.
Anton, if you're watching, can you just let us know how you say it?
Anton is our Eastern European homie, so we'll be shouting out to him a lot.
He's
Anton,
Latvian. No, actually, for all of our pronunciations, I think, Anton, if you could get in the comments, that would be really helpful.
Yeah. Importantly, Anton told us that it's Anna Karenina.
Yeah, and so now we know.
Now we know.
Maybe a perfect segue.
This is the Anna Karenina Book Club.
Thank you. Welcome. I'm so glad, you guys. Wow, we did it.
We did it.
Well, yeah. Well, that's okay. Well,
and so
in the sense that
that's how I react when my mom tries to high five me too. I'm like,
I'm a mom with high five.
It's scary to me.
I don't know why. I don't know why. Sometimes I get just like such an urge to do it, but that's what moms do.
I also don't know why it's such a hard boundary for
I'm
me.
a mommy.
And I'm like,
Mamacita. Mama.
Wow. Okay, when I was thinking about, like, on my way here about talking about this book, I was like, already I'm making too many Love Island parallels.
Oh, but there
like,
are
I
so
know
many.
we're doing high-low, but I'm like, Heather, you need to keep it together. You can't compare everything to Love Island.
But everything
And yet,
is Love Island.
Everything is Love Island.
And everything is Anna Karenina. Like,
no.
I've seen the world since I read this book.
Yeah.
I've started seeing the world
through the lens of...
Yes!
Yeah, no, that's power. No, it's true. Wait, yes, not to be like, whatever, but... Loki, that's Tolstoy's genius.
It is the genius of this work, and maybe that...
Sorry, it's so good.
It brings up the question, Heather, like, why did we decide to do this book club? Why did we pick this book?
Yeah.
What's going on here? Why did everyone buy this massive doorstop that literally people have looked at us and been like, that?
Be for real. And we said we are for real.
We're for real.
Well, we're for real. Why did we read this book? I mean, for me, I just have wanted to read it. And I honestly, it's so massive that I always was like, I would like to read it at the same time as a friend.
Yeah,
like,
no, sometimes you need a
keep
friend.
me going.
You need a friend to hold you accountable with a
You
book
do.
this, like, gigantic.
This
it's
enormous.
Like 20-pound lugging it around. Like,
it's massive. I mean, full disclosure, I read everything on Kindle. I mean, on Reader tablet.
And you're...
I read this whole book on tablet
on
then
Nook. On Barnes & Noble Nook.
I read everything on my Nook.
Yeah, well, Barnes & Noble hit us up because we would love to be sharing those.
And hey, bookshop.org maybe develop something.
Yeah. Why don't they have that yet?
Oh, this is a large good question.
People on Reddit, make some noise.
Let's
about
unpack
this.
that.
Let's unpack it.
But yeah, it's so massive. I was like, I could see myself stopping, but also I know this is exactly the kind of thing I would like. Like, I knew I would love it. So yeah, that's why I wanted to read it. What about you? Also, I do think my first Tolstoy, only Tolstoy.
My first and only as well.
Okay.
So
there's part of me that's like, maybe I've read that novella, The Death of Ivan.
Yes.
Something other.
Ivan Ilyich.
But maybe I haven't also. Hard to say.
It's now on my list after reading this. Like, this changed everything for me.
Yeah. What about you, Leah?
Well, okay, I feel like, there was something in the air last year when we started talking about this.
Yeah.
where I started seeing it everywhere, and I started seeing like people that we know, respect, and trust reading it. Not as if, you know what I mean? Not as if they weren't before.
You needed someone to co-sign Anna Karenina for you.
It's like, yeah, it's been co-signed,
right?
Like by history.
No,
but
in a big way.
I think it's kind of like I had always wanted to read it. Same deal. I had like made some attempts with Dostoevsky.
So different.
So
different. Yeah,
different.
yeah.
And here's the thing, like I had tried throughout my life to read Crime and Punishment 3 times, and I failed every time. I always make it through the crime, and then like 10% of the way through the punishment, I'm like
you're like, I can't do this punishment.
I'm like, I'm actually great. Like I'm good on the punishment
I'm good on
part.
this. Yeah.
It's
and
it's kind of like I can handle the crime, but I draw the line at being punished.
Yeah, I had to read that in college, and it was brutal.
It's
brutal.
It's just hard. It's like so dense and so
yeah. It's
like,
very like windy, like, and you're kind of just like. Frankly, now I couldn't really remember much about what happens in the book. It's just one guy's head.
Yeah, I was like, at the, again, during the crime part, I'm kind of vibing with that. Like, he's taking some actions. But then, I just kept getting sick of it. And I was kind of intimidated by that experience and thought, like, I can't make it through. Like, I'm sure Russian lit is just, like, too dense
I was going to say, you're like, all the Russians are the same. Like, Sorry to the Russian community.
No, we love the Russian community, and they're redeemed because I was soon 2 paragraphs in.
Yeah,
you're like,
he just pulls you right in.
You're set.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
maybe we should discuss.
Let's talk about this translation we chose.
Perhaps.
Amazing. Okay, so we are reading the Pevere and Volokonsky translation.
And wow, they snapped.
They ate that.
They ate this. They're a married couple. That is
love that.
So cute and beautiful.
Powerful.
But we didn't just choose it because we love their love story. Like,
yeah, that's not why we chose these guys. In case you were wondering.
I mean, I don't want you guys to think we didn't do our research here. We did
research.
But this is universally, I think.
Yes, everybody says this. It was not like a difficult choice.
No,
like everybody's like, this is the best translation,
like,
and just reading it, you like know that they're right.
You can tell
because there was like never a point while I was reading this where I was like, damn, I wish I could read this in the original Russian.
No, it flows like. It really feels like art. It's not like the clunky kind of translations that you sometimes see.
Yeah.
And I have their translation of War and Peace now too. And when I was reading the introduction that they did for this, I actually thought this was so true of the way they translate Anna Karenina, and I thought I could share it with everyone.
Let's go.
So they're talking about like the way that they translate Tolstoy and like what makes Tolstoy so great. And this is kind of the close of the introduction. A final example, Tolstoy describes children playing in their room when their mother comes in. The children were riding to Moscow on chairs and invited her to go with them. To translate the first phrase as, the children were sitting on chairs playing at driving to Moscow, or the children were playing at going to Moscow in a carriage made of chairs, or the children were perched on chairs playing at driving to Moscow, as has been done, is to miss both the rhythm and the point. The charm of Tolstoy's sentences comes from the fact that he does not explain in an adult way what the children are doing. He enters into the spirit of their game by the phrasing he uses to describe it.
Yeah.
And that was like so compelling to me and so true of like the way children are written about, the way that all of the characters, like the translation captures the way that he takes them on their own terms.
Yes. Yes. He's so good at that. One thing that's incredible to me is that, and we'll like get into this, is that, so I like started listening. So first of all, from this introduction that's written for Anna Karenina is also by Pevere and Volokonsky. And then also from this essay that Tony sent us by Nabokov. That's like, or it's like a lecture on Anna Karenina. And also from this like audiobook that I'm listening to that's like about, it's like an autobiography of Tolstoy during the time that he was writing Anna Karenina. They all talk so much about how like Tolstoy has very strong opinions. He's extremely judgmental. He's
shady. That is like,
yes.
Oh, I love
he's
that about
so
this book.
shady. Yeah. And they actually talk in the introduction about how like they try to capture his shade too, which is incredible. Which they do successfully. But
no, very successfully.
But yeah, he like seems like a good example of someone has like strong opinions loosely held. Where like he changes his opinions a lot, but they're very intense. But it's just amazing how well he describes people who are like completely opposite to him. And
Exactly.
you see this so well in the character of Vronsky.
I cannot wait to get into Vronsky.
At the end of part 1, like this is one of my favorite sections, and it's like a section that made me be like, oh, I really like Vronsky. When we get to that section, like Tolstoy is describing Vronsky's contempt for a kind of person that is very similar to Tolstoy.
I also marked that down.
No, it's really good.
And like, the ability to like do that for someone who's opposite you.
Exactly. He just like drops into everybody's perspectives. And that's why like when we were writing that thing for Open Book Club, I was like, the way that he writes women is just like so good. Like,
unbelievable.
It doesn't feel like a man is writing them. And then the same thing for children
and
children
and but also
peasants and for everyone.
It's like also it's like he writes women so well. He writes men that hate women so well.
Yeah,
like the ability to kind of like.
I mean, he is one of those.
Yeah,
but
exactly,
also, but like
exactly.
he describes different kinds of hating women. Like he.
Well, and that's maybe useful to say is like, you know, this is like a noble, like aristocratic Count Leo Tolstoy.
Yeah. Count Tolstoy.
Christian pacifist views that he like develops more later on
in his life,
but very conservative. Like
he's really conservative.
Not just in like his kind of prose style, but politically.
And and he has like such like crazy and regressive views of women. He has this like he has a real obsession with family life. With like the nuclear family. And has these like condescending views of like peasants. He really, I guess, like reading the book, I guess you would say that like his avatar is like Levin, most closely, but you'll also read that Levin is like more progressive than some people, but ultimately,
it's so tempting to kind of graft like our own politics onto the story here.
Yes,
and you can make all of the conclusions you want, but ultimately, like, this is like a place where the politics of it aside, like you can just delve into the world, and there are so many corners of it to like dig into that again you can make it say anything you want it to say. Despite his views.
Yes. One thing though is that like I don't know that I would describe him as a Christian.
Well, I think like in real life he was, but
he was raised Christian, but then he was like kind of an atheist, and then I think he comes back around to Christianity like later in his life, but has a lot of like he struggles with it.
Yes, and at the time much like someone will get into. Should we start?
Yeah, I think we should just start.
How does our story begin?
Wow. Okay, so the way that this begins is with this iconic line: all happy families are alike. Each unhappy family is unhappy in its own way.
Say that. No, actually, that's so true.
Do you think that's true?
Yeah.
I found myself wondering, like, do I think this is true?
I think like, okay, here's the thing. I think most families are unhappy in some way.
Yeah.
Which means that every family is unhappy in its own way. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, if there's a happy family, like, they have the same flavor of happiness for the most part.
Interesting. Okay.
No?
I don't know. I'm kind of like... Well, I guess I'm like, a happy family.
Yeah, what is that? Well, let me think of one of those.
Yeah, let me try and think of the ones of those that I know.
I think what's, like, genius about it as an opening line is it's so declarative that you have to take it as true.
Yes,
it's like,
exactly. It's
like, okay, like, knock through the door and let's go.
Yes, I think maybe the way that I understand it is less that, like, this is something that's true, but something that we should understand the narrator believes is true.
Yes, like, this opens the world of the novel.
Yes, and it helps us understand, like, how we're supposed to be understanding the rest of the novel. It reminds me so much of the opening line of Pride and Prejudice.
I was just about to say that. Yeah. It is a truth universally held that
a guy with money needs life.
Yeah, exactly.
You know the one.
The one that's satirical.
Yeah.
But this doesn't read quite that way to me.
No. But it just it's so, the same intensity.
Exactly. Like, okay, you're reading this. Yeah. We're all agreeing.
We're in. Yeah. These are the rules of this universe for sure. Yeah.
Well, so we start there. All is confusion in the Oblonsky's house? Mm-hmm. Why? What's going on? Tell me about, we're reading part 1, so we're diving kind of straight into this universe of characters. There's a whole ensemble of them, but we start very specifically with this one couple, Stiva and Dolly.
Yeah, we're starting with Stiva and Dolly. Why are you laughing?
Because I love Stiva so much, and I can't
I love
wait
Stiva.
to talk about it.
So Stiva made a little bit of a mistake, you guys. Okay, what he did is he cheated on his wife. Who's like 33 years old.
And it's like, she's ancient. She's an ancient hag.
And he says
lost her
that.
beauty.
He's like, she's no longer beautiful. She's had 7 kids for him, 5 of whom have survived. And he's like, I'm sick of that.
No,
and
he's like, that husk of a woman no longer interests me.
Yeah, so he's started sleeping with the governess, who I think has been fired now or has left.
Yes, they have a new governess now because they threw out the French governess who he slept with. They got an English one, maybe more prudish, who wouldn't sleep with him.
Who wouldn't sleep with him.
I'm sure that was the idea.
Yeah, and like the incredible thing about this is that he's kind of just like, I know it's bad, but I don't feel bad. He's almost explicitly like, I'm sorry I got caught, kind of vibes, which is what's so funny.
So I'm sorry I got caught. Like,
yeah,
it's a bummer that and in fact he says later, and maybe we'll get into this, but he's talking to Levin later about his cheating, and he's like, well, it's like if you're walking by a bakery and like, the sweet rolls smell really good, like, shouldn't you have a roll?
Yeah, and Levin's like, no.
Levin's like, but if you're already full, why would you eat a roll?
Yeah, he's like, you literally have bread at home, why would you eat a roll?
Which is so both of them.
It's so them.
You easily understand these characters, and Steve is so an archetype that still exists.
Oh, he's like, it's like a maddening kind of person who like does something bad, but you can't be mad at them because they can't fully grasp that
it's bad.
Yeah, like, the profundity of what they've done.
It's the type of guy who's like, I've just got a lot of love to give.
No, and he's like a lover. Like, no, it literally is that. I feel like there are like lines to that effect where it's just like, I just am like a person who's full of love.
He is a person that's full of love.
What is that word? There's like a word I'm looking for that's like, I don't know. He's just a lover.
I am obsessed with him. It's not even just with like the way that he's kind of cheating on his wife.
No,
it's not just a lover in that way. There's a line later on that talks about like the way he is with his friends and colleagues, and it's something like anyone who drinks champagne with him is an acquaintance, and he drinks champagne with everyone. Yeah, it's like he's just like kind of a party guy who like wants to be friendly with all.
Yeah, and he's good at telling jokes. Like,
how can you be mad about that?
You can't be mad at him. Incredible. Okay, so, I love him. Okay, sorry. Another thing that I flagged. This is like when he's going to like pretend to be sorry to his wife, Dolly. Dolly, he said in a soft, timid voice. He drew his head down between his shoulders, wishing to look pitiful and submissive. But all the same, he radiated freshness and health. She gave his figure, radiating freshness and health, a quick glance up and down. Yes, he's happy and content, she thought. While and this repulsive kindness everybody loves and praises him for. I hate this kindness of his. Yeah. I hate his kindness. And I get that. I get that, girl. Queen. Yeah, he's just a shallow guy, and he's never gonna know what he's done.
No, certainly he'll never understand it. But he's gonna try to perform that he has. Yeah. Which is why we kind of get into this plot.
Yeah.
So
he calls on someone.
He does, indeed.
To help him in his time of crisis.
He calls on the titular Anna Karenina.
Our girl. That's his sister.
His sister.
Okay, 2 baddies in one family.
Ooh, okay. Two mischievous siblings is all I can say. And they have a lot more in common than we're going to think in the beginning. Because he calls on his sister to come on over and help him get out of the doghouse with his wife Dolly, who is basically threatened to leave him, kick him out, pack up the kids. Importantly,
and it's clocking to him that she's standing on business. Psych, she's absolutely not.
He is a father.
He is a father.
He's a human.
He's a human.
It's not clocking to you.
So he calls on his sister Anna to come and talk Dolly out of this, to talk Dolly out of standing on business. But honestly, from the beginning, she's not.
Dolly is not. It's so clear because again, this is the type of guy who will get away with anything.
100%.
Dolly, and that's their dynamic.
Yeah.
The other, I think, important context is that all of the money is Dolly's.
Yep.
And he knows it.
Yep.
he literally is like, Anywho, so he's like making checks early on. He's like kind of like trying to like rearrange his debt in case she actually does follow through. And he's like, so yeah, like I need to go buy some wood, but like the wood is I can only buy it with my wife's estate.
Or was he trying to buy a wood or was he trying to sell a wood she owns it. It's
exactly.
her estate.
He's selling the wood from her estate.
Yes, exactly. So it's like, okay, so I'm not sure that you can settle your debts that way.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. Mind you, this is a man who loves champagne. Like, he loves the high life. Like, he literally is always buying the best of everything.
Balling out at all times.
He's so profoundly unserious. But he does have a job. So while they're waiting for Anna to get there, he goes to work.
You could call it that.
Yeah.
You could. It's the European form of work. Do you know what I mean? Like, where it's like, what's going on? Like,
and how did he get this job? Is it through Dolly's dad?
It's through a cousin or a connection or something like that.
Yeah, it's some kind of connection. Like,
he's a bureaucrat, basically. He goes into his work as a bureaucrat. He's like basically like talking to people, and the way that Tolstoy describes it, he's like essentially like rubber stamping things.
Yes.
Like, he's like looking at papers and like putting a stamp on them and like discussing the papers with his...
Okay, wait, no, he got the job through Alexei Alexandrovich.
Oh,
Anna's
husband,
yeah.
his brother-in-law.
Yeah.
Which will be important
Messy.
later. Messy as hell. So, okay.
Yes.
He goes into work.
Yeah.
And then he gets a visit from a friend who he's not expecting as much.
Yeah, he gets a visit from Levin, his longtime friend.
Now, who's Levin?
Ugh, Levin is my guy. I love Levin down. He's just so anxious, man. He's just like a really stressed out kind of guy. And they're just like longtime friends.
Can I be real?
Yeah.
When I first read part 1, I hated Levin.
Yeah, no, I didn't like him either.
I was like, this is an incel. Like, this, he's like giving incel, like, so anxious, like neurotic about his like kind of the way he is with women. He hates like most like society.
He hates everyone.
He's basically like driven himself away from the city and into the countryside where he lives in like this like farming estate.
Yeah, and he was like born into money, so everybody like Oblonsky, sorry, are we calling him Oblonsky? Have we called him that yet?
No, but we should. We should let everyone
you
know.
guys know. There, you turn back to the characters page and you'll find it.
The Russian names are hard, but we're gonna roll with it.
I'm just gonna say whichever name feels right to me at any given moment. Just like Tolstoy does. So
exactly.
So he was like born into money but decided to go live in the country and like, I don't know, like cultivate this land.
Exactly.
So he can feel like when he comes to the city, everybody, like people like Oblonsky looking down on him, but he looks down on them.
But he also looks down on them hardcore. He's like, these are unserious people.
No, he literally, when he comes to visit Oblonsky's work, he's like, at work, he's like, hey, by the way, your job's not real. Like, that's the energy he brings to this encounter.
Well, Oblonsky, meanwhile, is like, oh, are you still in the Zemstvo? Which is like, basically like a municipal government, let's say, for like the farming area, like a little like team of people that decide things. And he's like, hell no. He's like,
he said, I left that shit.
Yeah, I quit that shit.
He said government is fake. He's like, he really doesn't believe in it. He's like, it's just bullshit. It's just he's like, it's just all red tape, it's bureaucracy, and it's like not helping anybody. So I'm not fake like you guys.
No, exactly. He really looks down on them. But he's come into the city.
Why is he there?
For the love of a beautiful woman.
Say that. Say that.
Oh my god, this part I really just like gives me, I don't know. I'm kind of rooting for him all of a sudden, even though I didn't like him.
You hate him and his little attitude.
I really hate him and his attitude, and yet he is in love with Oblonsky's sister-in-law. And this is where we start to see like everyone is linked together. Yeah,
so this is Dolly's younger sister
Kitty, who is the freshest belle in all the city.
She's 18 years old.
Exactly.
Everybody wants her.
Everybody's down bad for her. She's at the balls. She's wearing pink. She's got like long blonde braids and like she's got like pink cheeks.
Is she blonde?
And I thought so. Maybe I'm misremembering that.
I feel like
maybe that's how I've
I have no idea, but maybe
or
that's
how
the
I've
case.
imagined her. Let us know if you caught that detail.
Mm-hmm.
We'll
let
look
us know.
too.
But yeah, so I really do see what you're saying about Levin feeling like so incel vibes.
Yes,
because he wants a wife so bad. He's like dying to have a wife, but he won't just have a regular wife. He needs to have like the baddest. Wife. Yeah, he needs to have like, the baddest in all of Moscow.
And all of Moscow. And it's like, do you even deserve the baddest bitch in all of Moscow when you've driven yourself out to the countryside? You want to take her there and prison her?
Yeah, and it's like, in addition to wanting the baddest bitch in all of Moscow, he's like, and I'm a piece of shit, and I suck, and it's like, oh wait,
he's like, and why would she ever want me? Like, why would she?
And also, like, I hate these other hot men who are after her, and these like dumb, attractive rich men who like want her. Like,
no, exactly.
He's so incel vibes.
Super incel coded to me. I like could not read.
Yeah, that's so true.
His portions without thinking like, ew. It gets really kind of nasty to me.
I see that in a big way.
Especially like he's much older than her. Like this is like a young woman. Again, that's the time, but still like to be like so like. I need the baddest wife in the land, and yet, like, why would she want me? I'm just, like, so awkward and anxious. Like, I'm, like, a nice guy, unlike the like, useless, like, stupid guys.
That's
like
tough. That's tough. Yeah.
Well.
So, he's, like, going to talk, he's going to talk to Oblonsky about this, obviously, because Oblonsky is married to Dolly. And so he kind of is just like, hey, I'm here to propose to Kitty. Like, I love her so much.
I love her so.
Those are the plans.
And Oblonsky's like, you know where you might find her, by the way. Well, Oblonsky does break some news though.
Yeah. Oblonsky does what a real friend has to do,
and he has to say, well, I'm rooting for you, King. Mm-hmm. Love you. But you're my boy.
One of the sexiest men in Moscow.
Oh no, is courting her.
Tough. That's tough.
So he has a rival. He finds out he has a rival, and he finds out his name. Mm-hmm. And his name is Count Vronsky.
Count Vronsky. He's rich, okay? He has a good body. Sorry, one thing about Tolstoy is he's going to describe a body all the way down to the toes. Like, he's getting it, like, the breadth of the shoulders, the complexion of the cheeks, like, the whole thing, the height.
The chin,
you're getting every last bit. Yeah, whether he's balding, he's telling us everything.
So we know Vronsky is handsome.
Yeah, Vronsky's 10-10, yeah.
He's been in the military. Mm-hmm. He's got, like, this, like, glorious, like, kind of horseback riding situation.
Mm-hmm. And he's charming. Like, he's good in society. Like, people like Vronsky. People like Vronsky.
So he's come in from Petersburg, where he's from, and he's kind of, like, come in and taken over Moscow society, and he's really courting hard at Kitty's balls. So Levin's finding out, this might not be as simple as I was hoping.
But he doesn't let that stop him.
No, he certainly doesn't.
He said, I'm going to pull up on Kitty at the skating rink.
I love this part.
It's crazy to me, but I guess it was what they did.
So it turns out Oblonsky's like, you know where you might find her? She's probably ice skating. And so there's this cinematic moment where you see Levin go down to the ice skating rink. He catches up with Kitty, and you can just, like, as you're reading it, this is what's so amazing about this book to me. The way that, like, the social dynamics are so well described, and like you can just see her, like, kind of, like, skating away from him and being like, oh, so nice to see you.
Yeah,
love you. Nice to see you.
That's so sweet. Literally. Like, kind of, and it's like,
I know it's writing on the wall for him.
And is it her mom is there with her, or is it her, like?
I think so. I think her mom is there at the end.
Okay.
And she goes up to her mom.
And obviously, as any mom would, if you knew you had a Vronsky on the table and 11 on the table,
you would say,
okay, let's be for real.
Yeah.
Again, really reminds me of the mom in Pride and Prejudice.
So true. She's very, very
like,
involved.
the mom-dad dynamic is very similar, where like the dad is like, marry the guy who's smart and down
nice
to earth and good, whatever. And the mom's
I've known
like,
him forever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And the mom's like, we are ascending. We're ascending.
Yeah. We see the rate at which Oblonsky is spending our money. Like, we need somebody to come in here and we need a
Vronsky and his money and his estate. Yeah, exactly. Vronsky is so rich, by the way. Like, he's really rich.
So
wait,
here they are. They're skating around.
Can I say one little line that I love so much?
Please give it to me.
This is Levin going to see Kitty, who's skating. Okay, maybe I'll just read the whole section.
Yeah.
He knew she was there by the joy and fear that overwhelmed his heart. She stood at the other end of the rink, talking to a lady. There seemed to be nothing very special in her dress, nor in her pose, but for Levin she was as easy to recognize in that crowd as a rose among nettles. Everything was lit up by her. She was the smile that brightened everything around. Can I really step down there on the ice and go over to her, he thought. Well, so one thing is, after a man thinks that, he'll go, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, I can.
He'll be like, yeah, sure.
yeah. Well, let me step on this ice then.
The place where she stood seemed to him unapproachably holy, and there was a moment when he almost went away. He was so filled with awe. Making an effort.
This is literally... Oh, wow. Can I,
I guess I will.
Hello, princess.
No. Making an effort, he reasoned that all sorts of people were walking near her, and that he might have come to skate there himself. He stepped down, trying not to look long at her, as if she were the sun. Yet he saw her, like the sun, even without looking.
When he saw her like the sun, even without looking, that
Yeah.
I also was like, that's one of the most memorable pieces of writing in this section for me, because it's beautiful and
so
true, even as cringe as it is to like be simping this hard for someone.
But
like,
when it gets to that point, it gets to that point. Like,
she's the sun, and you know where she is even without
you
looking
know where
directly
you can
at
feel
her.
where she
Oh,
is.
it's amazing. Oh my god.
Tolstoy, you freaked that.
You really freaked that. And he's also, Tolstoy freaked the fact that it's very funny, like, he's kind of like skating around and, you know, trying to like talk to her, and she's like, oh, you know, like keeping him at arm's length, and she's like, we receive on Thursdays, like if you want to swing by then. And then he like tries to like impress her by skating a bunch, and he falls.
Why would he write that?
No, literally,
Why did he
did
do
him so
that?
dirty. And
I was already feeling really sorry for him.
Tolstoy, why'd you do that? Why did you do that? But it's so funny also to think of him as like a Tolstoy stand-in, because you're like, oh, you know, this is your way of getting out your own anxieties.
I mean,
sure.
one thing that's so funny is how often, and I'm sure I've like at some point like underlined this somewhere, but like how often he talks about like that nasty full body cringe when you remember something embarrassing you did a long time ago.
Oh.
He writes about that a lot.
All
I'm like,
the
okay,
time.
Tolstoy, we get it. You did something a little bit embarrassing that you think about every night before bed.
One of the things that happens all the time in this book is a character will repeat the same line twice. And then remember that they'd already said it to someone and get super embarrassed.
Yes, he talks about these like extremely highly specific like moments of cringe that like you can't even you wouldn't even be able to retell to somebody because they're so specific, but he gets those in here.
So for example, when he Oblonsky sees Levin again after this, and they're kind of like going to dinner at like this fancy hotel that Oblonsky loves to go to and spend all his wife's money while after he cheated on her.
And they're in there being served by Tartars who are
literally getting served by Tartars, which is like you know, they make sure to remark upon. Oblonsky says to Levin, bold steeds I can tell by their something or other thighs, and young men in love by the look in their eyes.
say that.
To say like, oh, I know why you're
you're in
here.
love, yeah.
I know what you're up to. I know you're into Kitty. I love this because he says it again later to Vronsky.
Yeah.
And also something or other, like he doesn't remember.
No, he doesn't, but he's gonna say it anyway. What?
What? I love him.
The incredible thing about that though is like, obviously if it were Levin and he had done this, he'd feel embarrassed.
Oblonsky, never gonna notice.
Not Oblonsky.
Never gonna notice or think about it again.
Do you know what? This makes me want to ask you, what do you feel like are the fundamental differences between like an Oblonsky and a Vronsky? Because there are similarities, but
There are, but they're different.
what are the differences?
Well, I think one is that Vronsky is more... Oblonsky, to me, reads as the type of, like, charming that is super approachable. Do you know what I mean? It's, like, the approachable kind of charming who's, like, where my hug at? Like, he's, like, literally just, like... He's just trying to give and receive
That's
love.
crazy.
In
Yeah,
every
no, he
direction.
literally is. Yeah.
Vronsky if you see him in public,
Okay.
you know what I mean? Like, you're like, you can't even like he's like charming, but like you can't even like, if
you couldn't
he
approach
would
him.
never say where my hug at, because like,
he's not.
he knows these bitches want to hug him already. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
no.
it's like, oh my god, like I don't think I can like even really look him in the eye, kind of thing.
Right. Okay, interesting. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I feel like they're like operating at different levels.
Yeah.
And Vronsky's like a little bit more successful.
Yeah. Vronsky wouldn't accept kind of like the degradation of just like spending your wife's money.
No,
right?
no,
like
no.
he would be embarrassed by that. He is ambitious in a way that Oblonsky's not.
Exactly.
And he is just like a more serious person all around.
He is a little bit more serious a person. Now, I think like the kind of like blind confidence and like, but it is like a little bit complicated. Like the ambition makes him like second guess himself sometimes, or like get a little bit more in his head. But the confidence and kind of like lack of anxiety, I think that is, they have that in common.
Though to be fair, I don't know, do we get like really much description of Oblonsky's looks? Like, where does he get his confidence from? Do you know what I mean? Like, okay, Vronsky is rich, accomplished in the military, and hot, and so then we understand that's why he's so confident.
Well, Oblonsky, I think we learn he's like a little chubby and like, but
is
like,
he?
like chubby cheeked, like but like young looking as opposed to Dolly.
Right. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's true. It's like he's delusional. It's like he's
a little bit. He's just a happy guy.
Yeah, but that's charming too, and it's
that is charming for someone to just be very happy.
So, but at this point, we haven't even met.
No, we haven't even met.
Sorry,
Vronsky, I mean, and that's his power. Because look at us.
We're already getting into him. Come on.
But so Levin skates with Kitty a little bit, and says, "I'm gonna visit you later."
He says, "By the way, look out for me later." He has this long ass dinner with Oblonsky where Oblonsky shares his marital struggles, and he's like, you know, how can you resist these delicious sweet
loaves
rolls?
of bread?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And Levin is like, don't steal the sweet rolls. And then they go off into the night.
Can I say also, this is kind of the first time that we get like an understanding of how intense Levin is about morals and morality. Like he's like really judging Oblonsky
for cheating,
and he's kind of like, I don't know, you're kind of a bad person. But then and he says something like, I shudder when I remember my own sins, or something like that. And then Oblonsky is like, but you don't have any sins, and he's like, no, I got a couple. He's like AKA he's slept with other people.
Well, he slept with other people, and I think he slept with a prostitute. And I think like he it's so interesting, like his kind of like this is a character where I feel like you can see that sometimes the strength of somebody's like moral and their morals and their judgment of other people is like a reflection of their own disgust with themselves, and their like kind of like feelings about themselves are being like transposed elsewhere.
100%.
Because he's so ashamed that he's like slept with someone else, and that he slept with a prostitute, and he's like, oh, like how could someone do that?
Yeah,
like,
and it's like, well, same way you did. And exactly what you said about his judgments coming from his own judgments of himself, and we see that play out in part 7, which we'll get to.
We'll get there. But then he's ready to call on his queen.
Yeah.
So he goes over to Kitty's house, the Sherbatsky house, and he says, let me go up there. Let me talk myself into this. I'm nervous. And Kitty kind of knows.
Kitty knows. Kitty's kind of known since the rink. She's like,
she knows what he's there
just
for.
Another one of my suitors, says Kitty.
Everyone's in love with her. His love for her, which she was certain of, was flattering and joyful for her, and it was easy for her to recall Levin, but in her recollections of Vronsky, there was an admixture of something awkward, though he was in the highest degree a calm and worldly man. Like, it's like, she's like, Vronsky is like making her nervous in a way that Levin, he's just not intimidating to her. He's known her forever. Like,
they just don't have that spark.
They don't have the spark.
Can I say another thing? This is like another thing that is so, for me, I'm just like, wow, Tolstoy, I can't believe you write like this. So this is the night that like Kitty's waiting on Levin to come propose to her. Like she knows he's coming to propose. It says, going upstairs to dress for the evening and glancing in the mirror, she noticed with joy that she was having one of her good days and was in full possession of all her powers, which she so needed for what lay ahead of her. She felt in herself an external calm and a free grace of movement. We've all been there. Ladies,
let us know. Sound off in the comments if you've been there. And how did he know?
How does he know? And
how the hell did he know?
How does he know? And from the biographical whatever exploration that I'm listening to, he wasn't a good-looking man. He just kind of knows that this is something to happen. That happens to people who are like satisfied with their looks.
He's like he's looking around. He's like, okay, this must happen for hotties.
Yeah, for the baddies.
For the baddies, it happens. Okay, yeah. So then, of course, in classic Levin fashion, he shows up too early. Like he shows up super early. No one's there yet. No, like they announce him, which I love the scenes that we get of like society. Yeah, where they announce everyone as soon as they come in.
Yes, yeah, it's very. Novel of manners. Yeah. Like we're like getting into the customs. We're like understanding how things are done and like what it looks like to run afoul of the way things are done, which is cool.
And which is what he does. He shows up. No one's there yet. It's like 7:30. I also love finding out how late they all stay out. Like I love getting the exact times.
I know. They talk about like someone who's an early riser rising at like 10. I'm like, God.
Yeah. what a society. What an amazing
I love
society.
what you guys have done here.
Certainly they're all like aristocrats. So
yeah. So there's that.
That's got to be part of it. But he comes into the drawing room where it's just her. And
wait,
he sees his what is it?
I have to point out another thing that's so funny to me. Okay, so he gets there too early. So they're like, he's like waiting for like his time. And then there's this other countess that appears. And this gives you a good example of how people in society feel about Levin, who's like gone to the country and is like so annoying. It says, between Countess Nordsten and Levin, there had been established those relations, not infrequent in society, in which two persons, while ostensibly remaining on friendly terms, are contemptuous of each other to such a degree that they cannot even treat each other seriously and cannot even insult one another.
I love this relationship with them. It's like they literally like they hate each other so much they have nothing to say.
It's like they can't even be
they can't even be around each other.
I'm crying. They can't even insult each other. It's so funny to write that.
But one of the best parts of that is that it actually comes right after he has proposed.
This is after proposal. Oh my god.
So he's like trying to leave and make a smooth exit without seeing anyone. And Tolstoy says, you're not gonna get out of there without seeing your worst fucking enemy.
Not your nemesis. I need a nemesis like this so bad.
Where you can't even be in the same room.
Where it's like we know how much we hate each other, and actually we're kind of getting off on it.
And actually, everyone who's in the same room with us is we're all frozen with fear about what's about to happen.
Yeah.
So here's how it goes. She says, how long are you in Moscow for? How long are you going to be in the city? And he's like, she had asked him that earlier, and he thinks of this as his good line to ask her to marry him. He's like, earlier you had asked me, like, how long I was going to be in town, and what I had meant to say was, like, that it kind of depends on you, because I want you to be my wife!
It's like, it's
ick, the ick. I feel so bad for him.
I'm so stressed.
And then she goes, it cannot be, forgive me.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Yeah. And then he says, because he's a self-pitying incel, he says, it couldn't have been otherwise. And then he bows and leaves. He is so annoying, isn't he?
He is so fucking annoying. He's like, why'd I even...
Yeah.
Why would he...
I always knew you were going to end up with the jock.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Nice guys never finish first.
Yeah.
Please, he feels so bad for himself. He's like, oh, how alien and distant from him she had become. It's like... all of a sudden, as soon as she exercises any agency or says she's not interested in you, she's alien and distant, and like you can't even imagine that you would occupy the same space together. But
wild. He heads
all
out.
Of a sudden, he's about to head out.
Yeah, no, I mean he heads downstairs. He heads out of the drawing room.
Exactly. Yeah. Then he says, "You know what? After he runs into his enemy, I gotta see what this Vronsky's about."
So he hangs around. He hangs around knowing that Vronsky's coming.
He says, for good or ill, I gotta find out what sort of man it was that she loved. Well, And
again, who amongst us?
here comes Vronsky. He walks in and immediately so charming.
Yeah.
And Levin, I mean, he's just been like smacked in the face, soul crushed by the love of his life, and so he could not be more awkward in this group conversation.
Yeah. Even though I said who among us, I'm like, who among us wouldn't try and find what that person looked like on the internet? Not like hanging around immediately after rejection is so rough. Like, I'm like, I can't believe he's
with
stuck around.
your enemy.
With your enemy.
The family of the person who just rejected you.
And you know she's been talking to her mom about it, because she can't make this decision without her mom.
Of course. And her sexy guy who she's super into. Like, come on. But
really crazy of him.
He does stick around, and then he says, this is one of those moments where I literally marked it because I find it so funny every time he does this, where Levin uses the same phrase twice. He says to his enemy, "My words must have had a strong effect on you since you remember them so well," said Levin. And realizing that he had already said that earlier, he turned red.
Tolstoy, you are actually a sadist. Why are you doing this?
You are torturing this poor man. Oh my god. But we see Vronsky just like fucking flirting it up with this. He's just the type of guy who like walks into the party and like the dad is vibing with him a little bit. The mom is all like so charmed by him.
His nemesis is loving him.
Oh my god. And of course Kitty is kind of head over heels. And then but we start to, you know, this is like where the kind of third person omniscient narrator is so like useful, because we get into Vronsky's head a little bit. And for the first time we understand, he's not that into Kitty for real. He's not trying to marry her at all.
Vronsky is not serious, and this is so crazy to me. I was not ready for this.
I was
not ready for him to be like this.
No.
Can I mention one other thing?
Please.
Like, while Levin sticks around, instead of like making himself like scarce, he gets into a debate.
Why'd he do that?
Why'd he start debating people
about
some kind of spiritualism that's like all the rage, like
table flipping,
like
and
doing
all
a
that shit.
seance kind of vibes. Anyway, he's like, I don't believe in that. It's stupid. I can't believe all of these people are now into this like new trend of like, I forget what they call it.
Of course his enemy fucking loves it. Spiritualism.
Yeah.
Table turning in spirits.
Yeah. So it's basically like, it's this new like trend or whatever. And Countess Nordstrom like loves it so much. He's like, whatever, you guys are all stupid. She says the funniest thing, which is, she says, "I think you'd make an excellent medium." There's something ecstatic in you. Why would she say that?
She did him so dirty.
She gagged him.
But a perfect moment.
It's so good. Levin opened his mouth, wanted to say something, turned red, and then said nothing. Yeah, she gagged you a little bit.
She gagged you a lot. And the best part, too, is it's a perfect opportunity for Vronsky to be his perfect foil.
Exactly.
Where he's so chill about it, and he's like, how can we say?
We don't know.
He's like,
when electricity came around, we had no idea what that was all about.
And I'm like, how about this?
True.
Let's be open-minded about it. Let's have a little fun, King, you boring ass.
Yeah, and Levin's like,
slob. Like,
I can't believe people are spirits. He's so mad.
He's shaking his fist at Cloud.
He's just like me for real.
Well, so this is how we find out that Vronsky is he had never known family life. He's not from a serious family. His mother's been married a bunch of times. He's from a very that's how they're so wealthy. They're very established. But he's not like the type of guy who's been yearning for his own children or anything like that. Marriage had never presented itself as a possibility to him. He not only did not like family life, but pictured the family, and especially a husband, according to the general view of the bachelor world in which he lived, as something alien, hostile, and above all, ridiculous. He ain't trying to marry her.
He's not about that lifestyle at all.
No.
So he basically hangs out, talks to Kitty, whatever, leaves. They talk about whatever balls are coming up. And then Kitty's parents talk. The old prince and the old princess. Those are the parents. And the dad has clocked Vronsky.
Oh, he knows.
He's like, that's not a serious man. He's not going to propose to our daughter, and you're going to have to deal with that.
Meanwhile, the mom is all over it. She's like, you're wrong. This is their perfect match. We should be so happy. We should be rooting for this to happen.
And he's also a little bit like stop meddling. He's like,
Yeah.
two people can decide it's a different time. Two people can decide whether they want to marry each other. You've meddled so hard, and now you've meddled in the wrong person.
Yes.
And she kind of is like, oh shit, did I?
No,
She
no,
has moments
exactly. They're interestingly struggling with this kind of like how much to meddle when they can't arrange it themselves.
Yes,
you
yes,
know?
yeah. Which
Like
people still wonder to this day.
Amen. You know,
Yeah.
isn't that kind of the timeless question for a parent?
Yeah, how much do I meddle?
But meanwhile, yeah, we do find out Vronsky's he's not about it. I loved this characterization of like this just to start to get to know like what type of guy this is.
Mm-hmm.
The end of the first section we get in his head. He went straight to his room at the Dussault, ordered supper served, after which he got undressed, and the moment his head touched the pillow, fell into a sound and peaceful sleep as always.
As
always! When he said as always, I was like,
this man has never known insomnia.
No.
He's never known. He's one of those people who like they fall asleep within 8 minutes. Wow.
amazing.
He has never known night terrors. This man,
This is a confident man.
his life is incredible.
No, he needs to be teaching a YouTube course. Do you know what I mean?
No, do you know what?
How to get your tea up, you know?
Okay, can I read a little bit? I want to read a little
Please.
bit more about like how he's thinking. I'm just going to read this section because
Yeah.
I can't remember which part made an impression on me. In Moscow, after the luxurious and coarse life of Petersburg, he had experienced for the first time the charm of intimacy with a sweet, innocent society girl who had fallen in love with him. It did not even occur to him that there could be anything bad in his relations with Kitty. At balls, he danced mostly with her. He visited their house. He said to her the things that are usually said in society, all sorts of nonsense, but nonsense which he unwittingly endowed with a special meaning for her. Though he said nothing to her that he could not have said before everybody, he felt that she was growing increasingly dependent on him, and the more he felt it, the more pleasant it was for him, and his feeling for her grew more tender. He did not know that this behavior towards Kitty had a specific name, that it was the luring of a young lady without the intention of marriage, and that this luring was one of the bad actions common among brilliant young men such as himself. It seemed to him that he was the first to discover this pleasure, and he enjoyed his discovery.
I love this.
Okay.
I love
Okay.
it. He thinks he invented fucking. Like literally, he thinks he invented being a fuckboy. I mean, it's not like they're actually fucking.
Wait, sorry, there's a little bit more that also will give you a little bit more. If he could have heard what her parents said that evening, if he could have taken the family's point of view and learned that Kitty would be unhappy if he did not marry her, he would have been very surprised and would not have believed it. He could not have believed that something which gave such great and good pleasure to him, and above all to her, could be bad. Still less could he have believed that he was obliged to marry her.
This type of guy is amazing to me.
What's
Like,
wrong with a little flirt?
What's wrong with that? And also just the idea that like it's never even crossed his mind that this could possibly be that his actions could be bad. And it's different from Oblonsky where it's like
Yes.
he's sort of like oopsie.
Yeah.
Like, you know, whatever. It's
Like, he knows.
Yeah, he kind of knows. This guy, he has no idea. He's like,
Yeah.
I'm a charming guy. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, he's like, what's wrong with like two young hot people talking to
Yeah.
each other and like having a laugh? Like, and
What's wrong with having a little chat, pulling her for a chat?
yeah, this is more of like, yeah, it's a different worldview from Oblonsky, who's like, I mean, like Oblonsky knows all of the rules and mores and like knows what he's doing wrong, whereas like Vronsky kind of has like, we'll get to it at the end of the section. He just has like a different orientation toward life, where he's like doesn't really respect the concept of marriage. He like doesn't. Like, he thinks, like, the society stuff is over the top and, like, all of that. And so that's why it doesn't occur to him that he might want to marry this, or might be expected to marry this lady.
Well, and we're about to get a crazy challenge to all of that, to all of the potential marriage in the first place, because the very next day,
Yeah.
Vronsky goes to pick up his mother from the train station, where she has taken the train from Petersburg to Moscow. And who should he meet but the aforementioned titular Anna Karenina,
That girl.
who is also on the train from Petersburg to Moscow.
And actually sat with his mom the whole
And
way
sat
there. with
with his mom the whole way there.
And charmed her.
And charmed the hell out of her.
Spectacularly, yeah.
Spectacularly. They spend the entire... They're in the compartment together. This is the first time we're actually meeting Anna. And finding out what she's about. And we find out that she's sat the entire trip together with Vronsky's mom and basically not stopped talking about how she's going to miss her son and she's like such a, you know, a family woman and blah, blah, blah. and the mother is like telling her about her son and talking up her own son and how great he is.
Classic mom behavior.
And all of a sudden, Vronsky runs into Steva, who he knows, and he's like, "What are you doing here?
Hey, what's going on?"
Yeah.
And he says, "Well, I'm waiting for my sister because she's gonna get me out of this mess with Dolly. So I'm waiting on my sister." So I want to read the section where Vronsky first sees Anna.
Oh, I have that marked out too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I'm just gonna read it from the top. Vronsky followed the conductor to the carriage and at the door to the compartment stopped to allow a lady to leave. With the habitual flair of a worldly man, Vronsky determined from one glance at this lady's appearance that she belonged to high society. He excused himself and was about to enter the carriage, but felt a need to glance at her once more. Not because she was very beautiful, not because of the elegance and modest grace that could be seen in her whole figure, but because there was something especially gentle and tender in the expression of her sweet-looking face as she stepped past him. As he looked back, she also turned her head. Her shining gray eyes, which seemed dark because of their thick lashes, rested amiably and attentively on his face, as if she recognized him, and at once wandered over the approaching crowd as though looking for someone. In that brief glance, Vronsky had time to notice the restrained animation that played over her face and fluttered between her shining eyes, and the barely noticeable smile that curved her red lips. It was as if a surplus of something so overflowed her being that expressed itself beyond her will, now in the brightness of her glance, now in her smile. She deliberately extinguished the light in her eyes, but it shone against her will in a barely noticeable smile.
Oh my god! I screamed when I got to this
You
part.
scrumped?
Yeah, the scream I scrumped when I
Yeah.
was reading this, and I was like, oh my god. The chemistry that they have, like, they've never met before, but all of a sudden it's like they have to look back at each other.
They had to look back at it. Okay, can I say?
Say.
I didn't scream.
No, really?
No, I didn't scream. I was kind of like...
Because did you know? Did you have a feeling they were gonna be...
I didn't know what happened between them.
Okay.
But, and this is not a spoiler, if you've read section 1, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't know that they were going to get together.
Oh.
Or fall in love. And so I was like, okay, I'm getting from this that they will, I guess. And I'm getting from this that that's Anna Kay. It was just so interesting to me that it wasn't like I was floored by her beauty. And that was what was missing from it. That made me think, oh, maybe they don't get together.
No,
But no.
I think, and honestly, looking back the second time too, like,
Yes, you read it differently the second time.
you read it differently, and you also, I think, like, the fact that it's not just that she's very beautiful is, like, almost even more telling. Because up until this point in his life, he's kind of been, like, following shiny objects.
Yeah.
Kitty is just, like, a sweet, beautiful girl that he's into. Here, there's something else going on.
There's something else.
Here,
there's an abundance of something that she's trying to withhold.
She's trying to withhold her something else from him, but she can't. She can't extinguish that light in her eyes, which will come up later.
The light of severe mental illness.
The light of severe horniness. Wow, they immediately hit it off, and he finds out.
Well, not quite.
Say more.
Because later we'll get to this part, but like later that night, it just is not clear on her end from the like whether like how she feels about him. She has like some judgments of him.
Definitely,
she's not sure. I don't know.
This is when I knew. I marked this down. So they start talking. His mom is there, and his mom's saying like how charming and beautiful she was. The Countess says, explaining to her son. That she has a little boy of 8, I think, and has never been separated from him. She keeps suffering about having left him. Anna says, I spent the whole time talking, I about my son, she about hers. And again, a smile lit up her face, a tender smile addressed to him. You were probably very bored by it, he said, catching at once, in midair, this ball of coquetry that she had thrown to him. That's when I said, first of all, the ball of coquetry is such a perfect, like, way of saying, like, in midair. It almost felt like modern.
That's what I'm saying. All of his observations feel so incredibly contemporary that I'm like,
how did you know?
It's so that James Baldwin quote where it's like, you think you're the first person who feels that and then you read a book. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, but then the next line, which I also underlined, but she evidently did not want to continue the conversation in that tone and turned to the old Countess. So, I don't know. She's like playing with him.
You know?
She's playing with him. Like
but
she's
that's
giving
where
and taking
I'm like,
back.
where she's like, you know, it's like kind of like she knows what she's doing, but she doesn't want to. She's like, let me stop myself. Like, let me hold back a little bit because I'm doing too much.
Yeah.
But they cannot stop flirting. Like yeah, that kind of like banter, to use a Love Island term, like they have cheeky bant.
They have it, yeah.
They're volleying back and forth.
They have that. And then there's this part where so he's like in the train car with his mom, and then Anna like goes up to talk to her brother, and he's like watching her. And it says, through the window, he saw her go up to her brother, put her hand on his arm, and begin animatedly telling him something that obviously had nothing to do with him, Vronsky, and he found that vexing.
Exactly. But it's so true. It's like when your crush is talking about something else, it's like, sorry, what?
What the hell?
What the hell? Like, your crush should be talking about you.
Sorry, we were literally just hitting around a ball of coquetry. And now you're just going to talk about something that's not me?
No.
But the thing is, knowing Miss Karenina, she knew. Like, she knew she was watching him. He was watching her. And she knew she had to go and, like, act like nothing just happened.
And just be, like, animatedly talking about
some other shit.
Exactly. Yeah. That's why it's, like, all a game of cat and mouse.
Her power. And that's what happens when you don't have a job. Like, you can
dedicate your entire life to being, like, the most powerfully flirtatious person on earth. So I was, like, screaming this whole section. And then we get very foreshadowing, very scary.
A bad omen.
A bad omen. One might say. Occurs.
Yeah. Basically, a train
worker.
Train operator, train worker.
Not me being a train worker. What does that mean? But like, yeah, a worker around the train.
And in the way I picked it right up, I was like, yep. The That's worker on the train. Yeah. Gets hit by a train.
Yeah, and dies.
Tough stuff.
Tough. Very tough. But for Vronsky, great opportunity to impress his new queen.
Yeah.
So he immediately pulls out 200 rubles and he gives it to the train
wife of the train operator.
Exactly. He's like give this to the widow.
Yeah, because they didn't have that much money, did they?
And then he gets to kind of go off into the distance and be like, yeah, I'm a class act.
And Anna clocks it.
Of course.
She's like, I know he did that to impress me, and actually I'm not sure that I like it very much that he did that.
Exactly. They're doing things to each other and they're noticing what's being done. So we've got to take a break from that because that's too much.
It's hot.
It's
getting hot.
It's getting hot in here. It's getting hot in here. They've got to pull apart. And Anna has business to attend to, and Steve is going to make sure that she freaking attends to it.
Yeah.
He's going to say, sit down.
Yeah.
Get in this house and fix my shit.
Yeah. And she says, fine.
So, slight work. For her.
No.
For
someone like
nothing.
For Anna K, that's nothing. So she gets to the house. She goes in. She knows all the kids. She's besties with Dolly. She's like, Dolly girl, I know it's not easy.
She's like, darling, I feel sorry for you. My heart is breaking for you. It's not easy. I don't know if I could forgive him if I were in your shoes.
Oh, she's so good at it.
She's really good. And this is when you find the extent of her powers, because you know she's on her brother's side. Like, she's going to be on her brother's side. But she does a great job.
She does a good job, but Dolly doesn't even realize that she's on her brother's side, which is like, Dolly, girl.
Dolly thinks they're best of friends and that, you know, she's like being compassionate and kind of like down with her to the extent that Dolly's like, well...
And Dolly thinks Anna's like an angel.
Yes.
She's like, loves her, respects her, is like this amazing, wonderful woman.
She's the picture of modesty. She's the perfect wife. She's the perfect mother.
Mm-hmm.
She's incredible. I mean, in this scene, you kind of see her that way. She like floats through their home. The children are obsessed with her. Yeah. I took down, this is like a little bit later on, but I thought this was incredible because this is so something children do. When they're obsessed with an adult, whether because the children had seen that their mother loved this aunt or because they themselves felt a special charm in her, the elder two and after them the younger ones, as often happens with children, had clung to the new aunt even before dinner and would not leave her side. Something like a game was set up among them, which consisted in sitting as close as possible to her, touching her, holding her small hand, kissing her, playing with her ring, or at least touching the flounce of her dress. Yeah. Like the thing kids do when they're like, oh, I love this adult.
Like auntie, I love her so much. Yeah, it's
they
really...
have to be near their auntie and like just like sitting around and like holding on to her. It's so cute.
It's very cute. And again, just like insane that he like is writing at that level of detail.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, one thing that I was like, one thing that was like, that was striking to me that felt very like Casa Moore vibes. It's like when Dolly's talking to Anna Kay, and she's like, yes, I understand that his position is terrible. It's worse for the guilty than for the innocent, she said. If he feels guilty for the whole misfortune. But how can I forgive him? How can I be his wife again after her? For me to live with him now would be torture, precisely because I loved him as I did, because I loved my past love for him. And sobs interrupted her words. But as if on purpose, each time she softened, she again began to speak of what irritated her. And that, like...
yes.
It's literally like the 2 steps forward, 1 step back. You ultimately are going to get to forgiving the man who fucked you over, but you have to... Like, you have to do that.
Yes, that dance
of, like, 2 steps forward, 1 step back.
It's so
like,
Love Island coded to, like...
Don't even get me
to be
started.
like, and another thing.
Yeah,
like,
and knowing good and well you're going to be kissing him tomorrow.
Exactly. Well, and I think this is, when we get to one of the incredible scenes of this book that actually reminds me of, we're going to do this thing at the end of this section that talks about Nabokov and his love for like the small details of Tolstoy. And one of the questions that Nabokov asked on a famous exam that he gave on this book is, how did you know, or how did Anna know, rather, that Stiva and Dolly had made up?
I still can't remember. I don't know.
I marked this down because I literally, like, I knew this was, I was like, this man is a freak, because Anna goes to her brother at one point during dinner, or kind of like while they're sitting around in the living room, and he's like, by the way, like, go see her, like, after dinner, like, go up to her chambers. She's like, you know, I think I did it. Go talk to her. And then later on, during the grown-ups tea, they're up in their, like, the grown-ups are about to have tea, basically. The kids are about to go to bed. Dolly's up in her room, and Anna's looking around, and she's like, Steva's up there too. And she says to herself, thank God Stiva has spent a long time in Dolly's boudoir, Anna added, changing the subject and getting up, displeased at something, as it seemed to Kitty. So it's like she clocks that they've been up there for an awfully long time.
I see.
Which is how she knows they're back
it's
together.
All done, exactly. Done and dusted. Okay, I do remember this.
They're having makeup sex is basically the point, and she clocks it.
Yeah.
And I thought it was amazing.
Which, by the way, Kitty comes to hang out.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Kitty comes this night. I can't remember why.
God, I don't know.
Just to hang. They kind of all just go to each other's houses and they're like, hey.
They call on each other. It's society.
I guess, does she know about the fight? Does she know? Because Dolly is her sister. Like, does she know that she's in crisis? I can't remember.
I think so. I don't know if she knows the full extent of it, though. But they're talking about the ball together. Anna and Kitty. And
Kitty very quickly falls in love with Anna. It's like, very sweet.
Bitch, get your ass to the ball.
Yeah, she's like, come hang. I want to see what you wear. Like, the whole thing. It says, Anna obviously admired her beauty and youth, and before Kitty could recover, she felt she was not only under the influence, but in love with her, as young girls are capable of being in love with older married ladies. She just admires her, wants to be like her, sees the kids love her. She's chic, beautiful.
She's chic, and Anna's like, oh, I'm like, you know, I'm so bored of balls. I'm like, so over
she's like, I'm just gonna head back.
And Kitty's like, what? Like, what do you mean? Like, no, please stay for the ball. And Anna's like, oh, maybe I will. Like, whatever. I guess I'll check it out. Sure.
And Kitty confides in her also that she loves Vronsky and she wants Vronsky.
Uh-oh.
And she's like, and then she says, I traveled with Vronsky's mother yesterday. His mother didn't stop talking about him. He's her favorite. But you know how moms can be. But I really think he's her favorite kind of vibes. She says she doesn't mention the 200 rubles that he gave to that widow because for some reason it was unpleasant for her to remember it. She felt there was something in it that concerned her, and of a sort that should not have been.
She doesn't want Kitty to know what's going on between them. She knows that
right.
That was a bit of a move.
Yeah.
And she's just not going to mention it, and she's going to be a little bit guarded about it.
Yeah.
Then Dolly comes downstairs. Stiva stays upstairs. He left his wife's room through the back room, and you know, it's a more relaxed mood in the house. Like, clearly the tension is broken. Dolly's like, you know, she's chill, and she's so grateful to Anna. She's like, you've saved my marriage. I'm so happy, blah, blah, blah.
Then something weird happens. Vronsky comes to the house.
Now, and what's he doing there?
Everyone thinks it's weird. Everyone's like, why did he come to the house? I think it's the time that he comes or the way that he comes.
Well, it's like not a night they're receiving. It's like 9 p.m. It is like a weird hour. It's like, Dolly says, who could that possibly be?
It says, and Oblonsky's like, I don't know, probably someone coming over with papers, whatever. And it says, as Anna was crossing the landing, a servant came up the stairs to announce the visitor, while the visitor himself stood by the lamp. Anna, looking down, at once recognized Vronsky, and a strange feeling of pleasure suddenly stirred in her heart.
Together with a fear of something!
Say that. He stood without removing his coat and was taking something from his pocket. Just as she reached the center of the landing, he raised his eyes, saw her, and something ashamed and frightened appeared in his expression.
He's ashamed because he knows he's bad for that.
And exactly.
He is bad for that. And Kitty has no idea what's going on. In fact, she thinks he's there for her.
Yeah. Yeah.
She says to herself, he must have gone to my house, not found me there, and said, well, let me go over and check on her sister's house. No, bitch, I'm so sorry to say.
I'm so sorry, Diva.
Diva, he's there for Anna. Oh my God.
There was nothing either extraordinary or strange in a man calling at his friend's house at 9:30 to find out the details of a dinner that was being planned and not coming in. But they all thought it strange. To Anna especially, it seemed strange and not right. They know something's up, like something's not quite right.
Something's afoot. Something's afoot between these two. It's very clear. And we're about to find out what at the ball.
Oh my God.
The ball is where it all goes down.
After this section, when we get to the end of the section, like when we find out what happens in the section, please remind me to show you my deranged note that I have written here.
I'm so scared. What is the note?
So insane.
I'm so scared. I want to know what it is.
Okay.
So, Kitty is blonde. The thick braids of blonde hair.
Okay.
So Kitty is having one of her happy days. She looks amazing.
Looks great.
She's in this gorgeous gown. It's got little rosettes on it. It's custom. Tell me.
This is like an insane section again from Tolstoy. I'm like, what the hell? He's just like...
How did he know?
Yeah, he's like, all 3 buttons on her long gloves, which fitted but did not change the shape of her arms, fastened without coming off. Fitted but did not change the shape of her arms is crazy to me.
How did you know?
Like, he really ate up that description. I'm like, I know exactly what you mean.
I know exactly what you mean. I also know the pleasure of all of the buttons fitting well without coming off at all. Like, oh my God.
Right, when something just fits.
Wow. Yeah.
And then he also talks about the highlight of the outfit. She has this velvet ribbon. The black velvet ribbon of her locket encircled her neck with particular tenderness. The velvet ribbon was enchanting, and at home, as she looked at her neck in the mirror, she felt it could almost speak. All the rest might be doubted, but the ribbon was enchanting. When you have that one piece that saves the outfit.
But
yeah,
black velvet's about to come back.
Shoot.
Because as enchanting as it is on her neck, and Kitty was imagining Anna in lilac last night. She's like, I bet she's going to be in a beautiful lilac gown.
Me when I fully don't get someone.
Yeah. She's about to find out what a real bad bitch wears.
Ooh.
Oh my God. Anna walks in. Notice the lovely figure and head of Anna, who is in a black velvet dress. Oh my God. And Kitty is going to say, Kitty had seen Anna every day, was in love with her, and had imagined her inevitably in lilac, but now seeing her in black, she felt that she had never understood all her loveliness. She saw her now in a completely new and for her unexpected way. Now she understood that Anna could not have been in lilac, that her loveliness consisted precisely in always standing out from what she wore, and that what she wore was never seen on her. Wow. The simple things.
The simple things.
Oh my God. I love it.
And there's another portion that stood out to me, which is when she dances the waltz with someone, and then afterwards they were like, that was so good, like, you were amazing. She smiled at his compliment and went on examining the ballroom over his shoulder. She was not a new debutante for whom all the faces at the ball blend into one magical impression, nor was she a girl dragged to every ball for whom all the faces are so familiar that it is boring. She was between the two. She was excited, but at the same time self-possessed enough to be able to watch. Say that. Yep.
There's something in that.
Yep.
So Kitty dances the waltz with the host. Now, then she's going to have a little bit of a dance with Vronsky, who's there, her man, she thinks. And she's waiting for the Mazurka. Mazurka?
I don't know.
We'll find out.
Someone will let us know.
Anton, let us know.
Shout out.
That's kind of like the
That's
big
the
dance of the
dance.
night.
That's the dance.
The final dance.
Yeah, that's the most important one.
But
And oh my gosh, yeah, Kitty dances all the dances because she's so hot. So like everybody's like coming to dance with her.
like, oh my god.
She feels sorry for anybody who like isn't getting asked to dance. Like she's on her feet all night and she's saving this last dance. Quite literally saving the last dance for
him.
Yeah.
Because suddenly she sees who's dancing the mazurka together. Who's about to start dancing together because they can't stop dancing together. Yeah. That would be Anna and Vronsky. And Kitty sees what's going on between them, and she just knows, like, she's overcome with this feeling of knowing that there's something there, and that she's not about to get asked to dance with him.
Yeah, and by the way, she turned down 5 proposals.
She
turned down so many.
All these other men, she's like, please, I've got
no,
one locked in. He's in the bag. He's gonna ask me to marry him tonight. Like she thinks this is her ball, the whole ball, everything. But she sees this smile between them, and she's like, she feels destroyed. She goes in the other room.
Can I read this?
Please tell me.
She says she had not. This is when she sees Anna and Vronsky dancing. Not the mazurka yet, but it's like almost time for the mazurka, and she sees them dancing. She had not come close to Anna since her arrival, and here suddenly saw her again in a completely new and unexpected way. She saw in her a streak of the elation of success, which she knew so well herself. She could see that Anna was drunk with the wine of the rapture she inspired. She knew that feeling, knew the signs of it, and she saw them in Anna, saw the tremulous flashing light in her eyes, the smile of happiness and excitement that involuntarily curved her lips, and the precise gracefulness, assurance, and lightness of her movements. And then she said, who is it, she asked herself, all or one? Like, who is it that's making her feel like this?
One's enchantment with her, or all? Like,
is it the fact that everyone's obsessed with her, or there's just like one girl?
One? Because it's amazing when you see that. Like, it's amazing because everyone's been at a party and been like, wow, like I know that look on someone's face when they're just like so drunk on attention. But sometimes it's like just general attention, like getting like lots of love from all angles. And sometimes it's just one.
She says she watched and her heart was wrung more and more. No, it's not the admiration of the crowd she's drunk with, but the rapture of one man. Oh, and that one, can it be him?
It is, and it is. Wow. Oh my god. I mean, yeah, this is like, again, when you just like know something world historic is happening between them. It's so...
No, it's true.
It's like, I don't know, like everyone's been to a party and like seen two people dancing together and been like, wow.
Dancing the waltz together?
Yeah.
Like fire between them?
No, I mean, I'm trying to think of the equivalent. Just like, I don't know, just like getting a drink together and you're like, there's something's going on here, especially like, you know the feeling of like when someone's supposed to be with someone else and you're like, and they've got like insane chemistry with whoever they're talking to now, even if they're like both, you know, coupled up, as they say in Love Island.
It's
devious.
Sad. She goes on and on describing it. It's basically the lyrics to Dancing on My Own.
No, exactly.
It's so sad.
She's like alone in the other room after
she
giving
leaves.
Up all
yeah, she leaves to go to another room. She's like, she's like, I'm definitely not going to be asked to dance the mazurka now, and that's so embarrassing. She's like,
that face when you don't get
that feeling.
That face when you don't get asked to dance the mazurka.
The very concept of not being asked to dance the mazurka.
It's honestly heartbreaking.
And she talks about how uniquely bad her situation is. So she says there was even no hope that she would be asked, precisely because she had been too great a success in society. Like, there are a lot of people who are not going to think they can even dance with her.
No, exactly. Like, she really put herself in a corner with that.
Yeah.
Girl, oh no.
Yeah, so she goes to another room. Countess Nordstrom comes in and is like, girl, what's up? You need to dance the mazurka. And she's like, and then, so she says, Kitty, what on earth is this? Kitty's lip trembles, and she says, Kitty, are you not dancing the mazurka? And Kitty says, no. And then the Countess says, he invited her for the mazurka right in front of me, knowing that Kitty would understand who she meant.
She said, are you dancing with Princess Sherbatsky?
Oh yeah, so that's what Anna said.
Anna said to Vronsky, she's like, but shouldn't you be dancing with Kitty? She knows.
Again, she knows.
She knows.
Kitty says, whatever, I don't even care.
I don't even give a fuck. And then when Vronsky sees Kitty again, it says, Tolstoy writes, he did not recognize her at first. She was so changed. A wonderful ball, he said to her, so as to say something. Because meanwhile, he is falling in love. He's happy
like,
as a clam.
He's busy.
He's like, great night. Great party, huh?
Hey, girl. You having a good night?
You're still here?
No, what's also so sad is she dances the mazurka with, like, the old guy who hosts it. Oh, the fall.
Oh, no, the fall.
Tough. And that's
when she starts to clock something in Anna. She says there's something alien, demonic, and enchanting in her.
Okay, that's a bit of a 180.
No,
like,
it's
she
kind of
loved
like
her
you were
so much.
in love with her like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And Anna's like, okay, I've got to get back to Moscow. Like, this is the end. I've clearly stepped in it. Let me get out of here. But of course, there's still this little light in her eyes. Uh-oh.
Okay, sorry. This is the thing that I wrote down.
Oh yeah, tell me what is the insane note?
It says Anna equals Larsa Pippen, Lauren Sanchez. Does that make sense to you?
Anna equals like Lauren Sanchez, like Jeff Bezos' new wife? Well, no, that does not make sense to me at all. Sorry.
Okay.
Explain yourself.
Okay, here's what I want to ask is like why does someone like Kitty, who's like so young, beautiful, the belle of the ball, everybody loves her, everybody wants to be her.
Yeah.
Why does she fail to pull in a man like Vronsky, but where Anna succeeds?
Because I don't think of her as Lauren Sanchez. I think of her as like let me think of like a good parallel. Because it's true. It's like on paper, Kitty's young, she's beautiful, she's like the hot new thing. Of course she should be the one.
Yeah.
Anna has crazy bitch energy. Like, there's no other... It's kind of
She has that, forgive me for saying it, voodoo clam.
No!
I hate to say it, but you know... Yeah.
No. She has... Well, I was going to say it's like the woman equivalent of BDE. But it's voodoo clam.
So she's gonna rock your shit.
She is gonna rock your shit.
Yeah.
Exactly. She just has that type of like. God, there's a show where they talk about this too. They call it Crazy Pussy or something, which is basically voodoo clam.
Pop and a coin in the jar.
Oh my bad. I got $1 in the pussy jar.
There's no clam jar. You
can clam is allowed. Clam is actually totally fine. Wow, no, it's so true. That is the root of it. It's like there is like something like in her like chakras that just like she's just like radiating raw sexual energy that like Kitty is not even like coming near.
And you're saying Lauren Sanchez doesn't have that?
Sorry, no. She's like robot vibes. Like
what? Really?
Yes.
Interesting. I don't know if I've ever seen her in motion.
She's so plasticky. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. Do you mean like she looks plasticky or her vibe is plastic?
Her
like,
vibe is just
plasticky.
Like it's like
interesting.
She can't like move her face. To me, it's more like the voodoo clam energy is more like kind of like an like middle-aged woman.
That's what I'm saying. There's something about the middle-agedness of it all, of the like a fully
Miranda
like ripened
ass, like you know what I mean?
Not. Well,
you know what I mean? Where it's like she's horned up as hell. Do you know?
Right. Yeah, well, yes. Yeah. Well, a woman, like, in full possession of her powers.
Yes.
Like, not me quoting Tolstoy. Sorry, that's what he said about Kitty early on. It's different. Kitty's a girl who's coming into her, seeing that powers exist. Whereas, like...
Anna's, like, a
woman who knows...
Thick of it all.
She knows how to move through a room. But anyway, guys, if you guys can think of, like, the contemporary analog... Because I'm not totally convinced about mine or yours. If anybody could help us think of a modern analog of like
I'm trying to think of who is just like stealing everyone's man.
Someone who's like she's older, she's had
kind
kids,
of Kim Kardashian in a way. Think about
she doesn't give that at all.
Think about no. Let me like hear me out. Think about Kim Kardashian in the Pete Davidson situation. Do you know what I'm saying? Where it's like Pete Davidson had like dated all of these like other like celeb hotties way like younger than her, and then all of a sudden it's like he gets her name like branded on him, you know?
No, I know.
You don't see
I
it?
don't see it because, like, A, they didn't end up together.
Fair.
B,
But,
she doesn't give crazy,
Yeah, well.
but also she doesn't give that whatever crazy bitch energy
Yeah,
that we
yeah,
discussed.
no, that's fair, that's fair.
Like, Kim Kardashian's not gonna rock your shit.
No,
She's gonna
she
be
won't.
like, I'm glad we came to an agreement.
No,
about, like, do you know, like, she's
stop.
gonna let you go really peacefully.
That's so true. Who's gonna rock your shit? Well, everyone weigh in. I'm very curious what people would say.
Yeah.
But it has to be somebody who's like, yeah, not like super young and sexy. Like somebody who's like kind of in that older, although I think she's like 30, but whatever.
Yeah, but
you know, in that age. That was ancient.
Yeah.
Then we go back to Levin, who, he thinks he's disgusting and repulsive.
Yeah.
And that's basically...
And needs to retire to the country, and he's like, I'll never have a wife.
And then he sees his brother, who's like, kind of like this, progressive, like, activist. And not progressive, but... You know what I mean? Like, he's a leftist.
He's a drunk communist.
Well, he's a drunk communist, exactly. A progressive. You know what I mean?
I'm dead. I mean, well, yes.
In a certain sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he's a communist. He's a drunk. He's like basically dying and living with this forgive the expression whore. That's kind of just what he calls her.
Cool.
What can we say
it's a woman he's rescued from a brothel.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
And he's living with her.
They're like living in squalor. He's like horribly abusive to her. He's like, yeah, he's obviously like not very well. He's super drunk. He's like really mean to Levin, I think, because he feels a lot of shame and he's like feels like, oh, Levin is judging him or whatever.
And Levin is judging him.
And he is.
Sure.
And like I think that's the thing is like he's like, I know you're judging me and I know you're justified in judging me, and so I'm gonna be so mean to you. And I thought he did such a good, like, Tolstoy did an amazing job of describing this kind of a character.
Yes, and also of this brother relationship.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Of like, oh, you know, I'm like trying to be a friend to you. I have some obligation to be a friend to you, but like I can see that like you don't really want that. So I'm like, what type of like how much do I give here? And there are 3 of these brothers, so they all have this like thing to balance together.
Yeah. Yeah, because they have another half brother.
Yeah, who's like super intellectual.
Yeah.
But that's his little aside there. He Masha, who's his, you know, partner, Nikolai's partner, promises to write him. And Levin says, like, please, you know, come to the countryside and like live there. Maybe it'll be good for his decrepit illness, like whatever's happening there. And then he departs and he goes back to the country. And there was so much incel-ness here to me when he's so pissed. He's like, I don't even want to get married. Like, why would I ever have even like thought to imagine that I could deign to get married? Like, not me. To the extent, it's so incel to the extent that I marked this down. He goes home. He's like, says hey to his housekeeper. Yeah. And then listening to his voice, he went to the corner where he had 2 36-pound dumbbells and began lifting them, trying to cheer himself up with exercise. I laughed so hard. I was like, no, when you need to, like...
No, wait, that is... Wow.
When an incel gets, like, really into the gym.
No, yeah, it's giving, like, blue duvet, like, navy blue duvet, kind of. Like, I'm like, this is scary.
No, exactly. Navy blue duvet, that's so true. That's so funny.
Can I say something else that is like so incelly? Yeah. And yeah, so he's talking about how much he really wanted to be married, and he's like, well, I guess it's just not for me because I'm so ugly and horrible. And he goes, ugh, these things that I dreamt of, like a wife. He said, to go out with my wife and guests and meet the herd. My wife will say, Kostya, which is another one of his names. And will say, Kostya and I tended this calf like a child. How can it interest you? A guest will say. Everything that interests him interests me. But who is she? You want a woman who just like worships the ground that you walk on. But you don't even like yourself.
Exist.
What are you talking
fucking
about?
hate yourself. Exactly. Like what this is not real. Like so annoying.
Spooky.
It's so annoying. And that's what marriage is to him. Is like somebody who will attend to his every need.
Yeah, and I will say I was troubled by this portion because I think you get a sense early on that you're supposed to root for him. Like, you know that he's one of our...
Not me.
Yeah.
Not me. Sorry, I'm personally...
You're anti-Levin?
Personally, I'm rooting for Voodoo Clam.
And no, I rooted for that hard. I did.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm literally like, I'm standing on business. It's clocking to me.
It's clocking to you. It's clocking to you.
I want them
that's
together.
So real. That's so real.
Anyway.
But yeah, so that was crazy. And yeah, he's just like thinking about how he needs to write this book about agriculture.
He's like, no, literally, he's so depressed that he wants to write a book. My love.
Tough.
It's not, you're not in a good place if you're like, maybe I should write this like book of essays. Like,
I know this book of essays. It's about agriculture.
Yeah. Ooh, well, and that's when I said like, okay, I'm rooting against him. And, you know, maybe that'll change later. But at the time, well, I wanted immediately to get back to Anna and Vronsky.
Yeah,
and
let's get there.
Soon we do. Anna says, I gotta get the fuck out of here. She says goodbye to Dolly. Dolly's like, oh, like, thank you for everything, girl. Love ya, etc. Then at the end of their goodbyes, Dolly mentions a little something that I marked down. And she says, actually, like, she's kind of filling Anna in on the fact that, like, things are not going so well with Vronsky. And she says, Anna, to tell you the truth, I don't want this for Kitty. This being Vronsky. It's better that it come to nothing and that if Vronsky could fall in love with you in one day. And Anna says, oh my God, that would be so stupid, said Anna. And again, a deep blush of pleasure came to her face when she heard the thought that preoccupied her put into words. She's like, oh my God, no.
That could never happen between us. Me?
She's like,
Vronsky?
No.
You're so crazy, girl. That could never happen.
No, I would never. I don't want that. I want it. She's dropping hints that she wants that so bad. So we're getting a hint that she's into this for sure.
Sorry, this whole conversation is so crazy of her. Dolly says, Steve told me that you danced the mazurka with him, and then Anna interrupts her and goes, oh, you can't imagine how funny it came out. I had only just thought of matchmaking them, and then suddenly it was something quite different. Perhaps against my own will,
what did you do?
I was just trying to get them together, and then all of a sudden, there I was dancing the mazurka with him in the middle of the ball.
Such a thing, and honestly, I was just watching some movie where this happens too, but it's the surest sign of when somebody's like, no, you would, like, be so good with my friend. Like, you and my friend, like, should totally, like, you and my friend should, like, really get together. Like, somebody's, like, really...
Red flag, red flag.
What are you doing?
You're thinking about how that could be you.
Yeah. You want that to be you.
You want that to be you.
You want that to be you. Ooh. And that's what's going on here.
And I love how that has been around for centuries.
Amazing. It's just amazing. Oh, my God. Well, because she might get her secret wish fulfilled. She gets on the train.
Yep.
And who should she see and realize
is on that train?
But her man. Her man has followed her back to Petersburg. He's literally taking, like, what is this, like a 24-hour train for her? Like, he's about to sit on this train for a full day and uproot his life because he just wants to be around this married woman
who he knows lives in Moscow. So he's like, so the day after meeting her, he says he felt himself a king, not because he thought he had made an impression on Anna. He did not believe that yet, but because the impression she had made on him gave him happiness and pride. Damn, that's so intense.
Purpose to live.
That's crazy.
No, it's like when, like,
to receive the attention of a beautiful woman makes you feel like a king.
Exactly. That's how it should be.
And as it should be.
It's literally how it should be. That's so beautiful to me. It's like he found his purpose in life in being graced with the presence of this beautiful woman.
And that is so real.
When fine shit, like comes your way, you have to, like, accept
you kind of have to think about that.
You have to rise to the occasion and become a king.
So he says he did not sleep all night. Returning to his carriage, he kept running through all the attitudes in which he had seen her, all her words, and in his imagination floated pictures of the possible future, making his heart stand still. He's future tripping. That's crazy.
Oh my God, he's literally future tripping. And she's like, what are you doing here? Like, why are you going? He goes, why am I going? He repeated, looking straight into her eyes. You know I'm going in order to be where you are. I cannot do otherwise.
So mind you, she gets on this train being like, I have to get out of Moscow because in Moscow I misbehave. I have to get away from Vronsky. She gets on this train. She is like losing her mind on the train. She's like having like she's like
a manic
having
episode.
she like can't sleep.
Sorry.
She's like, she like can't sleep. She's like, she's dreaming about like a poor little music, which is like a Russian peasant, and like she has this dream over and over about like a skinny crazy music, which I guess we can talk about more. I really don't care about dreams in books, but
you know,
yeah, it's a motif.
So it's
yeah.
And
But
it's snowy and cold and blah blah blah. She's having basically just like this nightmare.
Yeah. So at the next stop, she gets off the train to be like, "Whew, let me get some air."
After that,
and then she
record scratch, freeze frame, because there he is.
Yeah,
he
and I bet you're wondering how I ended up here.
And he said, "I cannot do otherwise. I have to be where you are."
And she's like, "No." She's like, "No, we can't do that. We can't be doing all that."
She's like, "No." She's like, "Enough." Again, trying to fight this feeling. She's not sleeping. She gets home, and finally she gets to Petersburg, where she's like, "Okay, let me get back to my husband and my son."
Her very nice husband, who has a high-pitched, shrill voice, which Tolstoy tells us over and over throughout the book, and I love it. He's always like, in his shrill voice, going down one octave, going back up another octave. I'm like, oh.
This is one of my favorite scenes in this section, and maybe the whole book.
Oh, say more.
When she gets off the train and she sees him for the first time.
Okay.
Because, you know, this whole time she's like trying to fight this feeling. She's like, no, I can't.
Okay.
Yeah. She's like, finally, I'm going to go back to my son and my husband, and I'm going to be a good woman, I swear. As soon as the train stopped and she got off, the first face that caught her attention was that of her husband. Oh my God, what's happened with his ears? She thought.
She hates this man. She hates him.
The sight of him, Tolstoy actually invented ick. Like, do you know what I mean?
In a big way.
He invented the ick because he has done basically nothing wrong. Like,
no, he didn't do a damn thing to her.
All
he did was say, "Have fun in Moscow." and not cheat on her.
And came to the train to pick her up on his arm.
And he's so happy. He's really happy to see her.
Oh my God, literally. But I feel, I'm so icked out by him too, because so she's like disgusted by him, and she comes up to him and he's like, "Yes, as you can see, your tender husband is burning with desire to see you," like blah blah blah. And she's like, yeah. She's like, "Oh, here's my cheek, like you can kiss that if you want." Like she's like so disturbed. And he's like, "Is that all I get for my ardor?" Like he's like, he can even tell that she's kind of disgusted. Uh-oh.
Yeah. Mind you, Vronsky is watching the whole thing because he's so crazy, I guess. He, like, gets off at the same stop, and in St. Petersburg, and he's, like, watching it, and he's like, "Does she love him? I can't tell. No, I don't think she loves him. I think there's an in for me." And the three of them speak. So he's, like, Vronsky approaches her and her husband.
He's so bold about this. It's actually crazy.
Yeah, to be like, you know who you really want.
Yeah,
like, look at him and look at me.
No, exactly. He's like, he's unbothered. He's like, "Okay, that's your husband? Yeah. Like, this is your man?"
Yeah, this is the man you told me not to worry about? Okay, I won't.
Yeah. Suddenly I'm not worried.
Yeah, and her husband, Alexei Alexandrovich, is like, he's catching a vibe. He's kind of like, "You're being so nice to this guy, but you're not being very nice to me." And he's like, "Yeah, I guess," and Vronsky's like, "I want to come visit you guys.
Yeah, let me swing by. Let me swing by your place."
He's like, "We accept people on Mondays."
Yeah, he's like, cool. Mondays. So he's very cold. He's like trying to get Anna to, get back into her society life. And blah blah blah, but she's not having it. But he's still, hoping that things are okay with her. Then she gets back to her house, and even her son.
I hated this so really much. It's really sad. Yeah.
Even her son does not compare to what she has just felt for Vronsky.
Yeah. And the son, just like the husband, produced in Anna a feeling akin to disappointment. She had imagined him better than he was in reality. She had to descend into reality to enjoy him as he was. Aww. It's so sad, especially because when she's visiting Dolly in Moscow, she is so sad to be away from her son, and is like looking at pictures of him and like inventing excuses to talk about him and stuff. And then she comes back and she's like, oh,
and that was him? Like, really? But it's interesting because, this is, I feel like we can talk about this more as we go along, but one of the things that reading part one a second time I started to kind of remember is like, there's this like weird kind of link between her son, Seryoja, and Vronsky. Like, the very first time that Vronsky's introduced, it's because she's talking to his mom about her own son. Then when Vronsky shows up at the Oblonsky's house, she's just been like about to pull out a photo of her son. All of these kind of like subtle feelings that she's comparing her son to this man that she's in love with. And I don't know, I think there's like
That's
something interesting psychologically going on there where like she only kind of has like room to fixate on. It's like an object permanence thing, you know? Like only one thing or person can be like the object of her affection.
Whoa, that's so true.
Right?
Yeah, that's really, really true. Because, okay, so, no, that's so true because then she's like, so after she says that about like he's worse, like she had imagined him better than he was in reality, she had to descend into reality to enjoy him as he was, but he was charming even as he was with his blonde girls, blue eyes, and full shapely legs in tight-fitting stockings, and experienced almost a physical pleasure in the feeling of his closeness and caress, and a moral ease when she met his simple-hearted, trusting, and loving eyes and heard his naive questions. So she does fully swap one out.
Exactly,
she's able to swap one out.
She's like, okay, let me lock back into reality.
Yes, yeah.
What's in front of me is now my reality.
Interesting.
And get out of dream world.
Yeah.
And then it's like full fixation on him.
Right. Yeah,
and I think
yeah.
like that is like, so her as a character, she's only really able to focus on what's right in front of her.
Interesting. I am interested in how that idea will apply to the birth scene. I look forward to considering that together.
Oh my god, I
I'm
can't wait to. Yes,
Okay.
we're gonna get there. But first,
yeah. So then we get a little bit of time. Sorry, let me think about this.
well, we start to get. Is she gonna say anything to her husband about what's going on here?
Oh yeah.
I found that to be like a really interesting and well put part of this section too. Is like her husband's like, oh, go visit your friend Lydia Ivanovna.
Yeah.
And she's like, I just like can't. I don't even care about her anymore.
Yeah,
like,
she's
whoever
like,
that was to me, like that's his friend.
Yeah. She's like, I'm over that now, which is
That's
so bizarre.
I don't care.
Yeah.
She's like so wrapped up in Vronsky, and she's starting to ask herself like when she sees her husband again, should she like mention this at all? And she's like, no, nothing happened. Like he said something crazy, but like I'm not gonna say it. Like if I to speak of it with my husband is unnecessary and impossible. To speak of it would mean giving importance to something that has none. And like this is so how people like kind of like debate, you know, what they're gonna turn into something with anyone. Like this is how it feels so contemporary in that way.
Sorry, I hate to say it. It's like not telling somebody about something you did in Castle Amor.
No, literally,
It's literally like,
so...
it wasn't a big deal. I didn't tell you about it because it wasn't a big deal. It wasn't, whatever.
I can't wait to, speaking of which, I can't wait to find out what happens.
We'll
be getting there.
Yeah.
So she decides not to say anything. She's like, let me not broach this subject. But we start to understand that Alexei Alexandrovich has like a very tight schedule. He is a punctual man.
Guys, he's so annoying. He's like
so
unbearable.
annoying.
Oh my god.
To the extent that he's like scheduled in like 30 minutes to see her each night.
Yeah.
And it's like, you better be there for those 30 minutes, girl. Like,
Yeah.
where are you at?
Yeah. And she mentions something interesting, like an interesting trait, which is that like he's really good at like, he really understands like politics and like world issues or something, but has no understanding of art.
Yeah.
And so he just kind of like reads
yeah.
like what's popular, and like I don't know, like she kind of like condescends to him in her head about this, where he like says he's reading this like Duc de Lille book, and like it just and he says it's a very remarkable book, and it's like Anna smiled as one smiles at the weaknesses of the people one loves, just because she's like, he doesn't know what he's talking about.
I love this characterization of him because again, like, just each of them is so clearly defined. Where like he's this type of guy who's like so successful in his career. He's like super wrapped up in his career and how people perceive him in society, and like reading the things that are popular at the time and understanding the articles that are blah blah blah. But he has like no inner life, and like it's like, you know, how can you be in love with someone like that?
She
like
hates him for this, and she also thinks he's not capable of love because he has no, you know, joie de vivre.
Well, and then the next page, he's like ready to bone, basically. He's like, it's time. He goes into the bedroom, and
with a special smile.
had such an ick reading this. And then we have, like, this made me so sad for her because, like, we see, like, what she's capable of when she's, like, passionate and, like, into someone.
Yeah.
She undressed and went to the bedroom, but not only was that animation which had simply burst from her eyes and smile when she was in Moscow gone from her face. On the contrary, the fire now seemed extinguished in her or hidden somewhere far away. It's like, oh, she's trapped. She's trapped.
I didn't feel bad for her, low-key.
You didn't?
No.
I'm like, damn, she's just got to go, like, have sex with this guy. Like,
yeah.
You know? That's so sad. That sucks. I want her to be, like, in love again.
Yeah.
I want her to experience that.
You want her to be having sex with Vronsky.
Yeah. So sad for me to not get to have that scene.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, we never get a scene, do we?
Whatever. Someone's written it, I'm sure.
19th century.
I'll go to Reddit.
Yeah, no, honestly, I'm going to go to AO3 and see what they have.
Somebody has something.
I bet there's some AO3 fanfic about them.
For sure.
There's got to be.
But, like, the beautiful thing of them is, like, you don't even need it.
You don't need it. You really don't need it.
And that's, like,
true.
There's so something to that. Like,
yeah.
Smut has gone too far. We need, like, this, like, long 1,000 pages of coquetry.
Yeah, like throwing a ball of coquetry.
Literally, yes.
Okay, then we get to our last chapter of the section. I love this section so much.
Oh my god.
Because, I don't know, it's just, like, funny. And it, like, characterizes Vronsky in such an interesting way.
So well. You really start to get to, like, know what he's about.
Yeah. So they're back in Petersburg, which is where Vronsky's from, but, like, hasn't lived. He's, like, been living in Moscow. He's just come back because obviously he wants to follow his queen. So they're in Petersburg, and he had, like, left one of his apartments to, like, his friend from the army, I guess, to rent. And his friend's name is Petritsky, and he's just, like, good for nothing, but such a good time.
Fuck boy, like, super, like, they're just, like, a fratty vibe is what I was getting from these two.
Yeah, Petritsky was a young lieutenant of no especially high nobility, not only not rich, but in debt all around, always drunk towards evening, and often ending up in the guardhouse for various funny and dirty episodes, but loved by both his comrades and his superiors. Everybody loves this guy. So he's staying in Vronsky's old apartment. Vronsky's coming, and he's there with... Petritsky is, like, sleeping with, is it? I'm trying to remember. He's sleeping with the Baroness?
Yeah.
Or is it their friend Kamerovsky who's sleeping with the Baroness?
No, I think he's sleeping with the Baroness, but then he's kind of getting bored of her because he's also into this other girl.
Okay, but the Baroness is there. Everybody, like, welcomes Vronsky. They're all so happy. They're like, oh, go shower. We're gonna go out. We're like, they're like
bus.
They're like
another club.
Bus. You know what I mean? Yeah, no, exactly.
That's their lifestyle.
No, they're very that, and they're like they're like spilling they're like broke the coffee machine, something like. Okay, let me just read the section.
I love
of how Vronsky feels about this, and it gives you. This is a section that I was like, oh, it's interesting that Tolstoy is able to write this because he's the subject of someone like Vronsky's ire. Okay, in his Petersburg world, all people were divided into two completely opposite sorts. One was the inferior sort, the banal, stupid, and above all, ridiculous people who believed that one husband should live with one wife, whom he has married in church, that a girl should be innocent, a woman modest, a man manly, temperate and firm, and one should raise children, earn one's bread, pay one's debts, and other such stupidities. This was an old-fashioned and ridiculous sort of people. But there was another sort of people, the real ones, to which they all belonged, and for whom one had, above all, to be elegant, handsome, magnanimous, bold, gay, to give oneself to every passion without blushing, and laugh at everything else.
Oh,
yeah! I'm obsessed with this section.
Saved that exact
It's
paragraph.
so good.
It's so good. It's so true. It's also so, like, true to contemporary life.
It's,
You know what I mean?
100%, yeah.
Like, it's this feeling of, like, when you're young and, like, the only thing that matters in the world is that you just be, like, cool and, like, and in it.
Yeah.
You know? And just, like, give yourself over to, like, this sort of hedonistic...
Having a good time. Laugh at everything else.
Totally.
Yeah. And, like, I think there's, like, also this idea of, like, creating your own morality. Like, you don't, like, it's not moral... You're not moral just because you got married in a church, because you only have one wife, et cetera, et cetera. Like, we see Vronsky as someone who's, like, creating his own, like... Yeah, his own sort of moral architecture. Yeah, he's like coming up with his own thing.
Also, kind of crucially, that like he finds it ridiculous that you wouldn't.
Yes,
like, he's like, why would you accept? He's like, please, like, why would you ever accept that these kinds of like codes mean anything?
Yes. Yeah.
I found this so telling about who he is, and you're so right. It's like crazy.
Yeah.
That Tolstoy is
able to see how ridiculous that is.
Yeah.
And then, sorry, just to give you a little bit more of like the goofiness that they're getting into. It says, Vronsky was stunned only for the first moment after the impressions of a completely different world he had brought from Moscow, but at once, as if putting his feet into old slippers, he stepped back into his former gay and pleasant world. The coffee never got made, but splashed on everything and boiled over and produced precisely what was needed. That is, gave an excuse for noise and laughter, spilling on the expensive carpet and the Baroness's dress.
Oh my god, I fucking love it.
Come
I love
on.
it so much. It's such an embodied world. All the details are amazing. It reminds me of have you read Either Or? The Elif Batuman?
No.
Okay, it's the sequel to The Idiot, but there's like one of the themes of the book is like, should you live an ethical or an aesthetic life? And I think this is like kind of the foil built out around Vronsky and Levin. Is like Levin is somebody who is the like archetype of like, I care about living an ethical life. I want to like be married and have a family and provide for the family and think about everything super hard. And Vronsky wants to live an aesthetic life full of like experiences.
Yeah, and that to him is moral.
Yes. Yeah, that's like the root of his morality.
Yes,
so true.
And then we end the section saying, as always in Petersburg, he left home not to return till late at night.
He's out.
He's out. Vronsky's out.
And shit's about to go down.
It's about to go down.
Okay, what were your impressions of this section? We did it. That was a long, that's a long section.
Yeah.
I don't know how long we've been going.
Well, they're all long.
Yeah.
Quite frankly.
Well, yes.
My impression, what fun. I was just like, yeah, this is so fun. I think like when I was reading Nabokov's lecture, Nabokov.
I think Nabokov.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Correct us.
Yeah.
Anton?
Sound off.
We'll hit you up.
Yeah, I like was just like floored by how relatable it is.
Yes.
It's not even like resonant, it's relatable.
Yes.
It's both of those things, but like the relatability of like the like awkward moments or like it's very like
it's
know the vibe
amazing.
when, you know the feeling when.
But it's like
it's incredible.
How can that be true of,
That's what I'm saying.
Guy was writing in the 1800s in Russia.
It's
like,
crazy. Yeah.
Amazing.
The characters are all like so they're just they're so they're real.
Well, speaking of which,
and full of contradiction.
Tag yourself. Who's you in this section? Most. Wait, I'm nervous. Who is it?
So the way I'm living a little bit.
I'm not after me trashing him for a full hour and calling him an incel. My bad. My bad. No, I didn't mean it.
So the thing is, the thing about that is, I'm not an incel. I'll say that first of all.
Certainly no.
For the record. But I don't vibe with him on the way he like approaches like romance and stuff, but just the way he's like thinking too much. And it's like, maybe think a little bit less. I think I dream of being a Vronsky, but I do have the pull of like, am I living a moral life sometimes?
Totally.
And I do think too much about and yeah,
that man has to get out of his head. He's a good person.
It's
Deep
fine.
down,
Like you're fine.
chill.
Actually, I don't know. I don't know that I worry about whether I'm a good person.
No, I don't think you're that. Yeah, I don't think you're that Levin. But I see what you mean about like the neuroticism is very relatable.
Yes,
You're like, oh shit, I already said that, and like now I'm so stupid.
And now it's ruined my night.
Yeah, I
have
to go.
And
home.
now I have to go to the country.
Yeah. I have to leave. I actually have to flee.
Yeah. So I'm gonna flee. Y'all mind if I flee?
Y'all mind if I roll to the countryside?
Yeah.
Because I'm not vibing with the spiritualism.
Yeah. See, okay, that is where I'm very Levin in that like I just couldn't be chill about that for some reason. I wouldn't be able to. I'd be really mad that people. I'm like, why are
that is so you?
Yeah, I would be furious, just like he was. And
like,
why?
I'm not gonna accept that. Like, what do you mean? There's no evidence of that.
And I'd be like, excuse me, be for fucking real. And I would be fighting everyone.
Well, yeah.
So that's me. I think I have his combative spirit, I would say. His like a little bit of his, his oppositional defiance disorder that he has. I have that.
Right. And we're going to be diagnosing everyone with a mental illness.
We'll be getting into
Get
that.
ready for that.
Walk into that. But tag yourself.
Oh my god, I know exactly who I am, and it's one very specific line. It comes so early, and I read this and I was
I might know who it is.
I know you know who it is. And I'm like, you just have to know yourself, because obviously I don't feel like him in every way, but I'm a Blonsky in this section so hard.
I'm crying.
When he goes, oh my god. Okay, so basically the first time we meet him, we learn that he subscribes to like every newspaper. This is why it was so mean. He subscribes to every newspaper, and he doesn't like really like care about like what ideology it is. He just like reads the
He's
newspaper.
like, it's all good to me.
He's like, no, literally. And then, okay, this is the part I underlined. It was like, I'm losing my shit. With his peculiar quickness of perception, he understood the meaning of each barb, by whom, against whom, and on what occasion it had been aimed. And this, as always, gave him a certain pleasure. That's literally me when I'm reading my Substacks and I'm like, oh, I got it. I'm in on that one. You know what I mean?
That is so real. That's so real. Yeah. Yeah, the way you are subscribed to literally everything, and you're like, everybody see this? And everyone's like, no,
and no one cared, you know, like, and also, and just the idea that he's like, thinks he's so smart because he like clocked like somebody's like drive-by comment on something. It made me laugh so hard.
I would say you're smarter than Oblonsky for sure.
Thanks so much.
But yeah, you do have that same, you take that same pleasure in being like,
like, no, exactly, like, I saw that meme. Like, he would be sending memes today.
Oh my god, Oblonsky knows the memes. Yeah, he sure does.
Oh, wow, I love tagging. Wow, I can't wait to find out who our guests tag themselves as, too.
I know.
I'm so curious about it.
Oh, I'm excited.
I am, too. Should we close out with any little Nabokov questions and kind of go into... So I guess the backstory for this is we texted Tony that we were doing this. Tony Toole at the Moody. For those who are new here, if you are author of Rejection, Private Citizens, and our former teacher. And he was like, okay, you have to do some Nabokov questions. This is an interesting concept.
Yeah.
What did he do?
Yeah, so Nabokov has this thing where he's like, I guess he used to, when he taught English, he was like, the way that he would, like the exam questions he would give to his students, instead of asking like, what was Tolstoy's attitude towards marriage or like towards agrarian reform, instead he would be like, what was the color of Anna Karenina's bedroom? And he had this argument that like anybody could kind of bullshit around the first question, but they couldn't bullshit around the second one as much. And interesting.
Well, and also I think part of the argument is like the genius of Tolstoy is the details.
Yes.
And I think that is true mostly. Like the details are amazing.
Yeah.
I think you can like comprehend what's happening without having like perfect
100%.
recall. Yeah.
Yes.
Like,
I honestly would say it's less a test of the student and more a test of Tolstoy, because it's like, why would I remember that unless he made it very memorable?
Yes, exactly.
So like something like, yeah, one of the questions was like, what are the toys that Anna gets for her son when she like checks in on him this one time? And I'm like, I don't remember, and I also don't think it was important.
I don't think it's that important to the story. No.
But if you said, what color dress was Kitty wearing at the ball?
Come on.
That's important to the story, and I'll remember that.
Exactly. And so I think, but it does create this interesting thing of like, what do you remember? Like, what details strike you as you're reading?
Yeah.
So I marked down a couple of them.
Okay, I also just started thinking of some. And
Okay, love it. Okay, we'll do a couple to close this out, and comment along, you know, if you have more.
Okay.
Okay, my first one that I clocked was, what does Dolly, when she's fighting Stiva, she calls him something, a word that's very terrible to both of them. That she's like, this is like the worst insult that she could give. This is like so specific. It's crazy.
Oh God, I'm not gonna remember. Is it like clown or something?
It's kind of near there.
I don't remember.
It's stranger.
Give me a hint.
Oh, sorry.
Stranger.
Yeah, she's like, you're like a stranger to me, and they're both like, ooh. yeah, exactly. They're both like, no,
not a stranger.
Never that.
It's crazy how someone you used to love can become a stranger you see on the street.
Exactly. Okay, wait. Do you have any for me?
Yes. What is? Does it have to be from part one?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Right?
Okay, then I don't have. I mean,
I have one more if you want it.
What color are Anna's eyes?
Ooh. Oh my God. Brown?
Oh,
Oh, what color are they? Are they blue?
No, blue's
Green?
what everybody else has.
Blue
No,
is everyone else.
gray.
They're gray. How did I
Yeah,
forget they're
yeah.
gray? That's literally the... Oh my God. So
Yeah.
true. That is essential. Plot essential. Wow, I love these. Also because it's so
This is
telling
kind of
like
fun.
what's
Yeah.
people remember. Okay, my other one. What does Oblonsky order at the restaurant? Like that he's like, you have to try these. And it's like the first thing they start with.
Oh shoot.
And Levin's like, ew, I don't really like that.
I have 2 guesses.
Okay.
Is it oysters?
Yes! Okay, we passed.
I'm sorry. That is like if we want to get AP lit about it and be like, what do the oysters mean? Like, he's about that life.
No,
like he is
literally.
here to enjoy, to
No.
dare to eat an oyster.
No,
that is what he's here for.
He's here to enjoy that life.
Yep.
He's here to cheat on his wife. And Levin's not. Levin wants gruel.
He's like, can I have the turbot
Levin's
soup?
literally like, where's the kasha in this bitch? Like, he's not. Oh my God. Okay. Any others?
No, I think that's it. I mean, we already talked about this, but what color was Anna's dress?
Well, black velvet, of course.
And that's
that is everything.
That's everything.
Well, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in.
I'm still laughing at all of your
my stickies. These are insane. This is
we
ridiculous.
were like, can you explain your sticky system?
My color coding?
Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, not everyone has to do this many, and also doing this many is insane because like we didn't get to half of these. Like, why they actually made me more confused. But red were lines that I loved. Blue was ideas for the Nabokov questions. Green was like plot things where like something's happening in the plot, and yellow is like historical context.
Incredible. And I was like, yeah, so for mine, you can kind of see them. Yellow is things that I liked.
So yeah.
So that's that.
So that's
I just feel like do you remember in high school, like if somebody came in with their book like this, they were about to get a smooth 75% on the exam.
No, exactly. They were about to know nothing.
They were about to fail out.
That's why I'm like,
and then
scared,
ask
like,
for extra credit.
No, and that's about to be me. Me not remembering what color Anna's eyes are. Literally, you know.
Mean, I only remember because I was reminding myself today of everything that happened. But
all these
I
stickies.
did notice that.
All these stickies.
But I'm gonna now when I go through, I'm gonna do like the Nabokov questions.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna introduce a second color.
Ooh, okay. I can't wait to see what color it is.
Love.
And we can't wait to see you all next time with our special guest.
Ooh.